Coming up,
taking my exams, my parents really wanted the best for me, but it was so difficult to put together the funds for my CSEC exam. Regardless of the yes, the no's that we hear along the way, keep going. So it's been a great experience. I've been in Star Trek. I had shaved hair, so
whoa, that's awesome. Hi everyone, so this week on the Trailblazers, we have a Jamaican residing in Canada and making quite a name for herself as a teacher, a speaker, an author, humanitarian, a model, and an actress. She's the lovely Chessand Gregory. And despite her humble beginnings, she has been able to make a name for herself. How did she do it? What are her rules for success? Well, stay tuned to find out all of this and much more.
When you have a dream and others don't see it, don't give up.
Some of our most prominent producer them in the industry tell Tony that he could not bust a female artist because
failing is one thing. Failing publicly is a very hard thing. My father always said he was growing a prime minister.
And I said I was holding my mouth, the lies were going, and I sat and I saw women on the TV just lying bluntly, just like that.
Released the all media survey, and when you look at the name Ron Mouchette, 0, 0. And then they send back to say that they apologize. The lady up there never put in the number.
seriously?
In terms of help like house cleaning.
Yeah, my mom was a helper back then and stuff. To be honest, I was just excited, to play for West Indies.
I did it. I made my move into entrepreneurship at 40.
What, last comments would you want to share with
You have your core values, you do the right things, it'll fall in place for you.
Hi, Chessand. It is a pleasure to have you on the Trailblazers. And you must know that Chessand has so many titles, from a humanitarian, author, educator, model, you name it. She has had it or has it, and a mompreneur as well, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Welcome to the program. It is indeed a pleasure joining us all the way from Canada.
Thank you so much, Tamara, for having me.
All right, and you're looking lovely. I love the colors.
Thank you. This is quite intentional because Jamaica is celebrating their 60th anniversary. So I want to make sure every step of the way I'm celebrating.
I love it. I love it. And I should mention that even though Chessand, or some persons call her Chessie, her close friends, even though she lives in Canada, she actually is a Jamaican. So representing Brand Jamaica. Yeah. And you came highly recommended by Cavell. Big up yourself, Cavell. And so let's jump right into your story, because when I saw your bio, I was like, wow, very impressive. Like, you've achieved a lot of things, and as still a young woman, a young lady. Tell us a bit about what you do now and how you got into that.
Most of what I do right now, I spend a lot of time writing, and that was inspired by my children, which is quite strange when you think about children inspiring you. My children opened that gate for me to advocate even more and empowering them and empowering other children to make sure their voice and other friends, their voice can be heard. So I spend a lot of time doing that work and advocating and making sure there's some elements of humanitarian stewardship that being enforced with my children and giving back to the community.
Okay, awesome. So I'm here actually looking at some of the things based on your bio. So you're the founder and CEO of Chess Designs. You're also, as we mentioned, a trained teacher. You received an award, a Queen Elizabeth Platinum Jubilee Award, and ranked among Canada's top 100 women of inspiration. What does that mean? And tell us a bit about some of those things that I just mentioned.
Some of those things mean a woman that has overcome a lot, and regardless of those titles have been able to allow me to inspire other women. And I can draw upon the woman of inspiration. I was able to be among so many leaders in Canada, from RBC top, I would say, president, to other women in the community or CEOs. I was able to be surrounded with those women. So not just being an everyday woman, but being surrounded by women who are making a difference. And also the Platinum Jubilee Award, that was because of the work that I do with my children. So they have been a true inspiration to me, and creating my first business, Chess Designs, and creating products to inspire children. And those influence other children. So in terms of, I have a coloring cape, I have books, quite a number of things, just to make teaching and learning and parenting fun.
Okay, so your main focus at this time, in addition to your speaking engagements, which you do, is actually teaching. So do you teach, is it like you go into an institution? Is that what it has been? Or I know because of COVID, situations may have changed.
So I'm a trained high school teacher from Jamaica. However, being in Canada, I was teaching at a Montessori school, and I was listening to so many families opening up to me. There was always something that made them want to speak to me, regardless of the short amount of time that they had with me. They were always opening up, and I knew that something was there and there was more for me to give. I was always creative in the classroom. I have many teaching awards, but I knew that there's something greater for me. So I've moved a little bit away from that to actually help inspire other moms to be so ambitious and raising their children. So my teaching actually goes beyond the classroom and having one-on-one parenting journeys with these moms, making sure that they're able to raise their children to be everyday superheroes.
Okay, awesome. And as a model as well, tell us about your journey in terms of modeling.
My journey has also been influenced by my children, but I did start it very young, at a young age in Jamaica. I remember being in primary school, reflecting right now, maybe 8 or so. I was always in pageants, and I was also a part of Miss Edwin Allen pageant. So I was the queen at that time.
Oh, nice.
And yes, and I also entered Miss Jamaica Festival Queen in Manchester, and I was the runner-up with my very close friend now today, Victoria Cole. So big up yourself, Victoria.
I know Victoria. Small world.
Small world indeed. So that's how my journey in modeling started, but more intensely, being in Canada, that was one of the things that was kind of a stepping stone for me. As an immigrant, it's not very easy. You have to have lots of, documents put together, and that takes time. So being in the country, that was one of the things that didn't really demand a lot. So I would, urge others. It's an easy way of, staying afloat and making sure that you're able to thrive, especially raising a family. And I was able to introduce my son. He's also a model, that he was modeling in Jamaica. And I introduced him to an agency after many research, and they loved him. But when I was there, something came up, and my husband started to showcase that she does this and that. So he's one of my biggest supporters. His initials are OG, so I do call him my OG. And he was sharing that, she can sing, she can do that. And, in the interview with my son, they were asking, why aren't you doing this for yourself? Yeah. But I think around maybe 2 years ago, I really realized how mothers really put their children first, not thinking about themselves. And that was something I was doing. I was looking out for my son and, trying to see what other ways I can encourage him and see what other opportunities are there. And eventually I tapped into it after a year. He was very successful in his first year, being in National Geographic Channel and so many other movies, Hallmark movies. And yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, thank you. And I took the plunge, I went for it. And as a busy mom, I wanted something that I was comfortable doing, even though I did modeling, I have the experience. So I was able to do mostly print commercials. So the American Doll Company, I was featured in the American Girl Doll Company book as Melody's mom. So there are beautiful pictures of me showcasing the doll and being Melody's mom. So there are pictures of me, and you can read about the story about Melody and the Freedom Walk with Melody, and I was a part of that book. So there are many features that my children, just taking that step with them, that has opened so many doors. Yeah. And I encourage others to not be discouraged if they have children at a young age or anything that they they desire. Just go for it, listen to that intuitive self. And this is one that stood out for me too. And I've also been featured as the Love Laws catalogs. I've been in that, and also body glove wetsuits. So there's so many other features that extend to my modeling background.
Oh, I love that. And I love the fact that it actually just started because of your child, but then you along the way now becoming, you know, your own personality as a model as well. So that is very awesome. All right, so I'm going to tap now more into your story, your personal story, Chessand, if you don't mind, because one of the things about this program is that we like to hear, especially somebody like yourself as a young lady who is doing well and well accomplished, living overseas. Tell us about your journey, because you shared earlier that you grew up, well, you went to Edwin Allen High, and you were also, you know, a runner-up in the Miss Manchester pageant. So I know that you are somewhere from rural Jamaica then. So tell me about your background.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm from Clarendon, borderlining Manchester, so just a stone throw away, if I could say that, you know. So I'm very close in that vicinity. But for my background, I grew up as the only girl in my family, so 4 boys. So my brothers would call me, or others would say, the handbag in the family for my mom. And the relationship with my mom, as I reflect, has always been so close. I can't recall giving her a hard time. And I see her modeling certain behaviors in my life, not saying this is what you should do, but she was able to model those behaviors for me. And I would say to my husband, I don't recall fighting with my mom. I always knew that if I go somewhere, I need to be back. So I'm always mindful of the relationship, making sure I have a good relationship with my mom. But my parents are farmers. I must add that they're farmers. It wasn't very easy for us. They didn't have that kind of upbringing that I do have right now to help my children. And for me, this was so important that I understand that they want the best for me. But I remember taking my exams. My parents really wanted the best for me, but it was so difficult to put together the funds for my CSEC exams. They knew I was, you know, gonna do very well, but it was very difficult. I was always very good in my subject areas. I was a prefect in school, very close to probably being a head girl or something, but you know, that wasn't my calling then. And I remember receiving a Scotiabank award, which is a godsend. So my exams were taken care of. To God be the glory. And, you know, that was something that my mom was very happy for. That's how my first even bank account started, with Scotiabank. Wow. And, you know, those are some of the blessings that I had throughout my life, just having a difficult time. But I've had many setbacks, you know, trying to make sure that I'm being authentic to myself, making sure that I'm living up to the expectations of my family, regardless of the background that we have. So that was a huge one for me. But during my years in studies, that was also a very hard time for me. I had many setbacks as well. But regardless of those, I was able to thrive. And I remember taking my first trip to the US to actually work. And, you know, I wanted to see what else is there for me to achieve and to make some funds to actually help my education. And looking back at friends who would attend studies, you know, they had very successful futures in going abroad to work. And that wasn't the case for me. I had the worst experience ever. And, you know, thinking back of everything, it was one of those that really propelled me into becoming really strong, regardless of, you know, those obstacles that I had along the way. And migrating to Canada too, you know, has always been something that many would see as a very hard one to go through, picking up yourself, moving to Canada. But my husband is Canadian. He's born in Canada, but raised in Jamaica part. But if you ask him, he's Jamaican 100%. And I remember being here and just trying to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, my family. And that was very, very hard for me. My husband is a scientist, and he was also studying at the same time biopharmaceutical science. He studied. Wow. And for us, that has been something that kept the family too, but I understand that my role in the house and being a mom was to make sure everybody is happy too and making sure that I'm happy. But those beginnings really humbled me.
Right. So we're going to even touch a bit more in terms of some of the things that you just actually mentioned, because you spoke about the fact that even during your high school years, the challenges that your parents had, I mean, they're farmers, you're the only girl, humble beginnings then, but at the same time, despite those challenges, financial and otherwise, you were still able to overcome that. So at what point then, because I know you mentioned going on to high school, and then where did you attend university? Here in Jamaica?
Yes, I did in Jamaica.
Okay, which university you attended?
I went to Church Teachers College.
So that's why you are a trained teacher. Okay, yes. Awesome. I get it. Okay, I get it. So then, all right. So being at finishing, university and everything like that, what were some of the actual challenges? Because was it a case then that you decided that Canada would have afforded you a better way of life? Or was it a case that, opportunity struck? Or it could be just, could be for love as well, because you mentioned your husband lives there. So yeah, tell us about that.
For us, Canada was my husband's home. Mm-hmm. He grew up in Jamaica and moved back to Canada. So Canada has been home for him. And for him, understanding all the different talents I have, he knew that Canada would be one of those places that could actually propel a lot of these dreams and desires that I had for myself to come true. And moving here, those dreams and desire were coming through with our kids. So not only just moving here and saying, yes, my dreams will come true, our children they were slowly making those dreams come true, especially with my first book. So that's one of the things that came through for me.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And we're going to touch on the first book, but I know even for some of our viewers watching, they may be interested. I have family in Canada, but what would you, say to those who are watching who may be interested to migrate, whether to Canada or any other country, to follow their dreams and their goals?
I would encourage them, regardless if they travel to a different country, to make those dreams come true. Make sure that you hold on to your heritage. Don't be afraid to share those with others. Advocate for your country. And that's something that I still do, regardless of making my dreams come true in a different country. Give back to your community. Give back in every single way that you can possibly do. And with my children, we do have an initiative to help to build schools in Jamaica. And we partner with Food for the Poor Jamaica and other allies in Canada. So we are making sure that we're giving back. Books for Me are in Jamaica. So we are supporting, and proceeds are going back to Jamaica and helping to build those schools. So that's something that I would encourage others, even though you're stepping into that light of being your true self and making those dreams and desire come true, make sure that you big up your country.
I love that. I love that. All right. Touching on the book now, because you mentioned you have a book and that dream was realized when you went to Canada. So tell us about the book, name of the book and so forth.
Absolutely. So the first book is called Did Santa Wear a Mask? And that book was inspired by my son when he was 4 years old. So this wasn't a book that was tucked away years ago. It was during the pandemic, my son asked me, Mommy, will Santa wear a mask? And yes, I
just got it.
Yeah, so I actually had that same face, like, how do I answer this question? Mm-hmm. And during that time, other families, they were looking to me, seeing me staying so calm during the pandemic and also during my own life before the pandemic. And they wanted me to help to create something for them. And during that time, I was trying to put together something to help them. But this book took over, and I wanted to make sure that I could capitalize, share with others some of those elements to inspire children. But my husband at the time, I said to him, how do I answer this question? How do I know if Santa will wear a mask? We were in early spring, so around May. And my husband said, why don't you create a book? You're a teacher. Why not put all those different elements, be creative in your own way, and create a book to inspire others and create a different swing to teaching. So that was something that I did with this first book, and it was endorsed by Amazon. They were a part of it from the get-go. I shared with my publisher that I'd love to have Amazon on board. But this is also something that I'd love to share with your viewers. When you have a dream and others don't see it, don't give up. And my publisher didn't see that dream. But for me, we saw it. And my husband said to me, "What's the worst thing you can hear?" And he's like, "It's no. The worst thing you can hear is no." And you carry on. So we got to work. I didn't do a pitch deck or anything that you'd want to do in business. I wrote a simple email and I sent it out to Amazon, not knowing what I would hear at the end of the day. And within a couple of weeks, my husband mentioned to me that he would remind me, we received a note from Amazon that they would love to speak with me. So this wasn't a yes or a no situation, but I knew I had the opportunity, if needs be, to showcase a little bit more why they should be a part of this book with me. And in the conversation with Amazon on the phone call, they told me, absolutely, you've been the first person that approaches in this way and would absolutely love to be a part of this book with you. And we've seen.
Wow, that's amazing.
So this book, it has won a Gold Award, Mom's Choice Award, which you may see, and it has won the Parent Tested, Parent Approved Award. So that's like the Huggies diaper, the Gerber, all those different food go through this testing. So I had moms from all walks of life, different countries, different provinces in Canada actually assess this book, not knowing if I'm Black or anything. They were able to go through it and share how this book was inspirational in their life and teaching their children about the pandemic. And with my first company, I've been giving back with that first line of booby breastfeeding covers. I was also featured in the Flair magazine back in 2015. So some of my work can be seen there. And I was visiting different community allies, putting together gift baskets to mothers in low-income areas in the hospital. So I've been going out giving breastfeeding talk because I did study nutrition too. So that was something that I was doing along the way. And Amazon they were able to do an intensive research and found that and realized that there is potential in helping me to achieve some of those dreams and giving back to the community. For those who have read Did Santa Wear a Mask will understand how I was able to creatively introduce Amazon into the story and keeping Christmas alive for children, because my son was so concerned, will he have Christmas? And I wanted to keep that dream alive, because children can relate to Santa as that figure that when you have a dream, it will come true. So in a couple months, they may get a present, but there's a bigger dream when we have certain desires, certain goals, and we look forward to achieving them. I wanted to let my son know, and for others, when you have a dream, they can come true. So for them, getting their present is huge. And I wanted to keep that alive because my kids were asking me, how will Santa visit? How will he travel during a worldwide pandemic? And for me, I knew that so many times leaders are breaking the rules. And in a storytelling life, Santa is one of those leaders. And I wanted to make sure that he's staying true to not breaking the rules and keeping those alive. So Santa was able to have my sons, the Jag brothers, to actually help to save Christmas during a worldwide pandemic. So these are my boys, the Jag brothers.
They're so cute. I love it. But I really have to touch on and I like the fact how throughout what our discussion so far, it comes up with your husband being very supportive and an encourager and motivator to you. But I like the fact where he mentioned to you and he asked you, what's the worst thing that we could hear or you could hear? And you said, well, it's no. And so what if it's no? And that actually brings me to my next question or my next point. A lot of times we face situations and we are afraid to go out and go after that goal because we fear of what the response is going to be like. But you have shown that, listen, because you said your publisher did not see the vision, but you still went ahead and you could have listened. You could have said, well, your publisher is in a position of know-how in the industry. and a position of authority. And if they don't think it's a good idea, then maybe I should squash it. But nonetheless, you had that desire and you still went after it. So yeah, so why is it so important to always keep true to what you really want to do and not always allow people to stop you, especially sometimes people that may be in a position of authority?
Something that is so crucial, to be true to yourself. It's not easy, but that inner voice that speaks, I think that's one thing that we should embody, to make sure that regardless of the yes, the no's that we hear along the way, keep going. And I've heard many, many no's along the way. You may see for sure all the achievement I've had in the past, but I've had many no's along the way. So, you know, it's something that it's good to be surrounded with people that can actually make you grow, sustain you, and support you. So those are some things that, regardless of the yes, the desires that you have, having a community to support you is so important. The leaders that we look up to as well, having them in our community to actually help us to grow is something that's so important, which later on you will hear or speak about my Platinum Jubilee, which some of those leaders do help in terms of helping me to grow as well.
Okay, and let's touch on that right now about that Platinum Jubilee, because you received, we had mentioned that honor from the Queen. That's impressive.
Yes, it is. It is very impressive. It's a huge accomplishment for me. And I hug my kids all the time and I squeeze them, because these are things that I see myself as a little girl wanting to achieve. And some, I didn't really have it on paper, pencil it down, but it was slowly coming together because of them, and the community walks that we do, the charity events that we do, the community leaders that we get to bond with. Those are some of the pillars that really supported us in making sure at the end of the day, I was able to receive that nomination, and even attending the Platinum Jubilee high tea party. I wasn't sure if I was receiving the pin. I was invited and I was nicely dressed, as my member of parliament mentioned. And, you know, it was something that I realized that my community leaders are very pleased to know that as a Black woman, and also a very young woman, I was doing this work as a Jamaican too. And in that community, surrounded by so many leaders, I was the youngest young woman in that crowd. And it was one of the greatest feelings, if I can say that. Sorry for my lack of word, but it was a good feeling being surrounded with diverse cultures, seeing that they're also making a difference. And for me, I have felt a little bit of discouragement at times, but when I was surrounded by those individuals and just sharing the work that we do, giving back and building schools, and it was something that resonated with them. And it encouraged me that what you're doing is so important, and catering to that sustainable development goal and empowering children with their literacy. And that's the focus with my books. So it was a great feeling.
Wow, I love it. And I love how, when you were speaking just now, how you came, you've been animated throughout, but you could see the joy and the thrill and just the childlikeness. And actually, that's something that I love about you, because I've often said that sometimes we have dreams and goals, and as we become adults, you know, whether young adults or not, but, you know, as we become 18, 19, 20, moving on up, we sometimes let the challenges or the failures of the past or what others say dampen our spirits, and then we lose that childlike faith. So when I see that within you still, like that little girl, as you mentioned, as a child, you have some dreams and then being able to achieve them, it means a lot, doesn't it?
It does mean so much. And just walking in that light for my children to see me truly happy. I remember when Amazon reached out to me, I got that email. I was screaming. I was on set doing a Hallmark movie, and I screamed and I hugged my son so much. He's like, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." I was squeezing him so much because nobody knew why we were celebrating. And I squeezed him and I said, Amazon responded. So he was able to see me really happy. When I'm really happy, I just jump like crazy. And I love that ability to allow them to see it. When you're in a good moment, celebrate it. So I always make sure that I run to them and they can see it, you know, because that's something that we shy on celebrating. And I wanted my kids to see when you're truly happy and dreams come true, celebrate them.
Yes. And speak of that, what's the journey like in terms of acting as well? Because you mentioned being a part of like a Hallmark movie. What's that like?
It feels great. The only problem for me is that when I watch a movie, I see everything now. It's as if I can see behind the scene what's happening, what's going on. But it has been a great opportunity. I've been able to work with so many amazing producers who have gravitated to me and would say to me, we're keeping you in the know, whatever is coming up, and we know that you match the background, we're keeping you in the know. So it's been a great experience. I've been in Star Trek. I'm not sure if that segment I've been a part of is out yet. I had shaved hair, so.
Whoa, that's awesome. That's so cool. So in addition to, you know, being a mompreneur, speaker, author, and a model, you also act as well. That is amazing. And I'm really happy, Chessand, that you're able to be doing all of these fantastic things while still in your beautifully yellow representing Jamaica at large and living your dream as well. So we're winding down, but one of the things I always like to ask, you know, our guest is, what rules for success would you want to share from your own background? Would you say you want to share to others who are watching, who, like you, they may come from humble beginnings. They may not come from, you know, a wealthy background, but at the same time, they have a dream and a desire to accomplish great things in life, and whether age or status.
I would love to encourage the viewers to be true to themselves, truthful in the desires and the things that they want for themselves, but also remember those people in your life that supported you from a young age. I do have one of my teacher from primary school. I haven't seen her in years, but she would play such a fundamental role in my life as an educator. And when I did so many research on finding her, and when I did, I told her, you're not going away from me anymore. And I made sure she was the godmother for my son. So I wanted to make sure that she knew the role that she played in my life. I remember she said to me, don't shout like that. I would always be very loud when I was younger. So she kind of helped to make sure those rough edges were, you know, shaved off a little bit. So I would say, you know, remember those people who are close to you. They are the leaders in your life, regardless if they are just a farmer, just a church community member, just a teacher, just a shopkeeper. You know, remember them. They're there to support you. And those little tips and little encouragements are so important. So I would implore your viewers to remember them, remember those individuals, give them a call, however you can, remember to reach out to them. For me, it's so important that I set a little note in my phone to go off. And even my close friend, Victoria, I know that I will get busy at times. So I do have something in my calendar, girls call. You know, and it may not be Victoria, it may be another woman, it may be somebody else, but it reminds me, keep in touch with these people. Make sure that you share how thankful you are. So gratitude is something that is so fundamental that we forget. And a close friend of mine too, she would say to me, Chessy, you don't have to say thanks so much. And it means something to me to make sure that others know how grateful you are of whatever they're doing, their service, their friendship, the gifts that you've received. I think I've said 1,000 times already on my Instagram page, thank you to all the supporters with my new book launch. And it's something that my mom taught me, and I want others to know that, to be grateful of whatever you've received, whatever blessings that you've received, and to celebrate them.
Indeed, I love that. You know, that's a fitting note to wrap things up. By the way, where can persons find out more about you and your work and what you're doing, and also access your book?
Viewers can actually go to Chessand Gregory, Chesand, Gregory, Gregory.com, and they'll be able to see my books. the first one did stand to wear a mask. They can learn about what I do, the important work that I do to supporting other community leaders and helping moms. And they'll be able to see my new book, which is A Birthday Wish. And this actually helps other children to become everyday superheroes, giving back to the community. And there's a huge part in celebrating Jamaica's 60th. And that is something, a big highlight for me for this year, making sure that others are able to see how we can actually creatively inspire others and showcase our Jamaican culture. So this is one of my big part that stands out a lot for me in celebrating my Jamaican culture.
I really love that. And that is so fitting, as you mentioned, because Jamaica is, of course, celebrating its 60th year of independence here in 2022 at the time of recording. So that is fitting and amazing. Wow. But I want to thank you so much, Chessand. It's been a pleasure. I mean, I just want you to continue, blaze your trail and keep inspiring and advocating and giving back. We are so very much impressed. I'm impressed by what you're doing, and keep up the fantastic work.
Thank you so much. And the Jag Brothers would like to say bye-bye to you and to your viewers.
You have the dolls as well.
Yes, I have the dolls. I have, many different things. They're always on my key ring, inspiring me. They're always with me wherever I go.
She's on a roll. Yeah, she is on a roll, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Chessand.
Thank you too, Tamara. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Hi everyone, I'm Tamara McKayle, television and radio presenter, producer, communication specialist, and of course, producer and host of the Trailblazers series. I'm inviting you, yes, you, to join our family. All you have to do is just click the subscribe button right below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you are alerted as to when we have new episodes. And then join our family for weekly inspiring episodes that will not only lift your spirits, but give you the tools, the keys, and the strategies that you need so that you can walk in your purpose and blaze your trail. Thank you for watching.